All right, and we are back. NHL 20 franchise mode, Calgary Flames. Welcome to episode number 3 here as we begin the calendar year of 2020. You can see it is January 2nd, or I guess we should probably sim up to January 2nd here of the new year. So yes, welcome to episode number 3 of our franchise mode here for the Calgary Flames. We do sit second place in the Pacific Division, just behind the Edmonton Oilers, of course. Our arch rivals from up north. They sit at 56 points through 42 games. We have 54 points through 42 games, so just 2 points back there. Then you can see the Ducks at 50 points, as well as the Golden Knights. But yeah, through 42 games, we've got a 25, 13, and 4 record. Good enough, as mentioned, for second place in the Pacific Division and in the Western Conference. The Ottawa Senators tied with us. The Boston Bruins lead the NHL 60 points. And you can see the Metro there as well. So yes, we are underway here in episode 3. We finished off the last episode there, episode 2, obviously simming up to the end of the new year, or to the end of the old year, 2019, as we begin the new year. Sorry. So yeah, we're going to pick up where we left off and obviously sim a lot of hockey here. We want to get up to probably about the trade deadline in this episode, so we can kind of reevaluate maybe what we have here going into the trade deadline, as well as sim up those games so we have a better gauge. Because I mean, like I said, we are 42 games in, but it wouldn't be bad to get a little bit of a larger sample size around the trade deadline. So we finished off last episode, and I talked a little bit about our goaltending. Our goaltending has been a little bit inconsistent. I didn't look at it month to month. Mostly because I forgot to, but our goaltending was really good in October. I kind of struggled a little bit in November, and then it struggled mightily in the month of December, and our record was showed that as well. So take a look at our goaltending numbers. I said this in the last episode at the end. We were going to look at all of our players and goaltenders and just kind of look, and our team as well, and just look at some of the numbers here to begin this episode. So here's David Rittich through 34 games, 18 wins, 917 save percentage. And then we got Cam Talbot, 14 games played, 8 wins and a 909 save percentage, 280 goals against. So not the worst numbers there, not the best numbers either, but both goaltenders are above 900, and that's what obviously you'd like to see. Rittich as your start at 917. That's not bad. You'd probably like to see it a little bit higher. You can see the goals against there at 245. But he's getting the wins. I mean, again, we're second place in the Western Conference behind the Edmonton Oilers by 2 points, and technically tied for third place in the NHL. So when you're tied for third in the NHL, you're not doing too much wrong. Don't forget the Flames finished second overall in the NHL last year. So we're about at the same spot as we were, at the end of the season last year in terms of the regular season. So I kind of talked about in the last episode how, maybe we should start looking at some different options in net, because the goal, especially with David Rittich, he was just playing really inconsistent there, especially in the month of December. So I went and I looked at the trading block for the NHL, and just to see what was out there. And let's go browse trading block here. And I didn't find too much. So what I did find was, if you went to a team like Boston, there is Yaroslav Halak, 34 years of age, 1 year left on a $2.75 million contract, and an 83 overall. So the thing about this is low trade value. His contract obviously expiring at the end of this year, so he would be a rental. 83 overall, though, that's only what... like Rittich is an 84, Talbot is an 81. I'm not sure if an 83 overall is much of an upgrade over what we currently have in our tandem, and don't forget we do have a tandem. So I don't know if Yaroslav Halak would help us a lot. The only other one I saw there was of Chicago, and that'd be Corey Crawford here. He is an 86, which would be slightly better than what we have in David Rittich. He's also on an expiring contract at 35 years of age. The only problem is he is making $6 million per season, and his trade value is a little bit higher because he is a starting goalie at 86. So it wouldn't be a bad option to keep in the back of our mind here in terms of if we do have to upgrade our goaltending at the deadline. But we do have 2 months to sim till then. But Corey Crawford, an option. He's only 2 better than David Rittich, and I don't know if we could make the $6 million work in terms of the salary. There's also Anton Khudobin, who's very similar to what Yaroslav Halak is in Boston, 83 overall as well. Also 1 year left at a 2.5, yeah, and a low trade value. It's just pretty much the same thing in what we have in Yaroslav Halak in Boston. So not too many options. That was pretty much it for goaltending on the trading block. Just a couple AHL goalies out there as well. So not too many options. Corey Crawford, the only plausible option out there. But again, on an expiring contract, he would be a rental. That's the other thing about Corey Crawford. So what would we be giving up with that trade value that's a little bit higher? We'd probably be giving up a prospect, maybe some higher end draft picks as well. And I just don't know if we want to give that up for a rental goalie, because he is 35 years of age, so we wouldn't be, extending him to an extension or anything either, because after next year, I'm sure Crawford's overalls will go down. So it's going to be interesting. Do we just roll with Talbot and Riddick, or do we look at the trade deadline? So like I said, we still have 2 months that I want to get through in this episode here to simulate and get up to that. But just looking there at our goaltending quickly on the goaltending block. Here, I just want to look at our players. Again, we're through 42 games here, so we're about halfway through the NHL season, exactly about the halfway mark here. So just see what our team is made up. We're going to look here at our players. You looked already at our goaltending stats through half of the season. Look at some of our player stats and then our team stats. But let's start with our player stats here. So obviously, Johnny Gaudreau leading the way here, 48 points in 42 games. Also, already at 28 goals for Johnny Gaudreau. He's going to have an outstanding season. The fact that we're only halfway through the season and he's already got 28 goals, I mean, this guy could be on pace almost for 60 goals and on pace for obviously almost 100 points. So we'll see if Gaudreau can keep it up here throughout this season, but he's just had a fantastic season. Obviously has been our MVP so far this season. Sean Monahan coming in next at 47 points, only 1 point behind Gaudreau for the team lead. So really good season so far for Sean Monahan as well. The only thing that's really weird is obviously in this goal department is the fact that he's only got 10 goals. Again, this is a guy that can easily put up 30 goals a season. I believe if you click on this here, you can look at his full career stats. I tried to do that in the last video there. So look at Monahan's stats here: 34, 31, 27, 27, 31. So this guy constantly puts up close to 30 goals a season. Very consistent around there too. And he's only at 10 goals right now. So that only has him on pace obviously for 20 goals this season. So that'd be a huge drop off. He hasn't even scored, even his rookie year here, 22 goals. So, I mean, since his rookie year, he hasn't scored even close to 20 goals. It's always been a lot closer to 30 goals. So that's a little surprising. He does look like he could be on pace to match his points total from last year, where he had a career year with 82 points there in 78 games. Because he is putting up a lot of assists playing with Johnny Gaudreau. The only thing is the fact that he's only got 10 goals. Now, that could be due to the fact that Gaudreau's on his line and he's got 28 goals. So it probably should be the other way around, whereas Gaudreau has more assists and Monahan has more goals. But again, this is just a video game, so you know what? We'll go with what it is. It's probably backwards in terms of reality, but you know what? It doesn't matter as long as these two guys are getting it done. And they are a dynamic duo up front, and they have been for a number of years. We are going to continue to rely on them as they are an elite dynamic duo up front. Third place here in terms of points, Michael Backlund. That's kind of surprising. 30 points there on the second line. 9 goals only, though. But is putting up 30 points. You can see there is a drop-off as well from Monahan to Backlund. Quite a bit of a drop-off. Elias Lindholm on that top line there with Gaudreau and Monahan. He should be picking up probably a lot more points, as he is picking up easy points. He only has 28 points through 37 games. I probably expected a little bit more out of him. There's Mark Giordano leading our defenseman in 27 points. We obviously knew that Giordano wasn't going to have the same offensive year as he did last year, where he put up 57 points, or excuse me, 74 points. That was 57 assists. 74 points, excuse me. I don't think he's going to get anywhere near that he did in his Norris Trophy season. But you like to see a little bit more offense from the back end, including Gio. Sam Bennett has had a surprisingly better season, 23 points there. Or maybe it's just the fact that Matthew Tkachuk has had a very poor season. So this is the biggest thing here. When I'm looking at this screen, when I'm looking at this screen, is the fact that Matthew Tkachuk only has 22 points through 42 games. So that is not good enough. And only 7 goals. We thought Monahan was bad at 10 goals. Like I said, Tkachuk is one of our top offensive players on this team. We want to be seeing a lot more offense out of him. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to go into our lines and see if we can find a way to get Tkachuk into more offensive roles because for some reason he's just not producing. He's on the second line, he's on the top power play unit, and he has been consistently all season through 42 games. He's played all 42 games. He hasn't been injured. For some reason, he's just not producing. So I'm going to see if we can find a way to get him into a little bit more ice time and a little bit more offense. Maybe he can have a better second half. He's really not projecting at the way we probably thought he would. And again, Tkachuk's coming off a 77-point season. So again, just like Giordano, he's not even going to get close to that this season. But you probably knew there'd be a bit of a drop off, but you hoped it wouldn't have been that big of a drop off. Brody Hanifin, 20 points, that's about right. Mangiapane up there as well. Quine, Frolik, 16, and then onward. So just look down at these players here. Rasmus Andersson, 12 points so far. Milan Lucic there, 8 points, and then Juuso Välimäki, 6 points through 42 games. So again, Välimäki, Andersson, they're on the bottom pairing. Not expecting a lot out of them offensively this season, but going forward, like I said, when we probably move on from Brody and Hamonic and then eventually Giordano, we'll probably be expecting for a little bit more out of those guys on the back end. Just looking at our plus minuses, Backlund leading the way there, Giordano up there as well. In terms of minuses, just that third line kind of struggling there. Mangiapane, Quine, and Ryan in the minuses, the only players on our team. So I just wanted to quickly look at that here. Do want to get to a lot of simming here, so we're going to go through this as quick as we can here. Just want to look at our team stats about halfway through the season. So what we are going to do is go by league here and just look at the overall stats. So again, you can see we're tied for third place technically. I guess Ottawa's technically third. We have the same amount of points as Ottawa at 54, but it looks like they have less games played. So we're technically fourth, but tied for third, if you will, in the NHL, and second in the West behind the Edmonton Oilers, who are just 2 points ahead of us. So we're not doing too bad on the season, as much as it looked like it was in the month of November and December, where we were struggling, but we're not doing too bad. When we look at terms of goals for, we're going to go by the most amount of goals for. You can see the Edmonton Oilers with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are leading the way in that category at 151. But there's us at number 2 once again, second in the NHL. Are you guys tied with Boston for second in the NHL, averaging 3.40 goals a game? So that's not bad. We're getting offense, despite guys like Sean Monahan not scoring a lot, despite guys like Matthew Tkachuk not putting up a lot of points. We're still getting enough scoring. Even Giordano and the rest of our defense not putting up as much as we probably expected from the blue line. We're still finding a way to get the offense done. Like number 2 in the entire NHL is not bad with 143 goals for. So we're fine there. When it comes to goals against, we're looking at the least amount of goals against here. You can see that we are in the top 10 when it comes to least goals against. So what is that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're actually 8th in the NHL in terms of goals against. So we're not struggling in goals against either, despite the struggling of David Riddick and Cam Talbot in that last episode. So I think we were kind of panicking a little bit too much in that last episode. It did look bad when we had a good stretch of games where we were losing and we just weren't playing well, and our goalies weren't playing well, and we were sometimes our offense was going dry. But despite all of that, overall, halfway through the season, we're top 8 in goals against, we're top 2 in goals for, and we're in the top 3 in the NHL overall standings. So I think we got to sit back a little bit and look at these screens sometimes and realize that maybe things aren't as bad as we thought they were. Halfway through the season. So that's why we're not going to make too many changes right now. We're going to just continue to sim and roll through because we're not actually doing as bad as maybe it did look. When it comes to the power play here, 22% is pretty damn good. Again, that is 5th in the NHL on the power play. So we're getting the power play done as well. And the PK at 84% is about halfway. We're about 9th actually there in the standings. So again, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, ninth in the NHL in the PK. So top 10 in the PK, top 10 in the power play, top 10 in the power play, top 10 in goals against, and top 2 in goals for. We're not struggling as a team either. 25, 13, and 4 record should show that, and we're not struggling too much, maybe the way we thought we were. So I'm not going to go too crazy then. I looked at that after I ended the last episode, and I was like, things don't look maybe as bad as, maybe I was saying they were at the end of that episode, where we maybe had to look at different options, especially in the trade category. But we're not going to panic too much, and we're not going to go crazy with these lines here, because I I think we have the right lines here. Again, I'm just going to try and find a way to up Matthew Tkachuk's ice time and up his offense, as well as Monahan and Lindholm. I want to keep them going because expecting a little bit more out of them. But again, when you look at our special teams, there's Monahan, there's Lindholm, and there's Tkachuk on the top power play unit with Gaudreau and Anderson. You know what? Let's put Giordano actually back up there. I think we switched him around when he did get injured. So I mean, they're on the top power play unit. When we go to 4-man power play, there's a Monahan, there's Tkachuk there. When we go to the PK, you're not going to get any offense off of that. When we go to extras, 3-on-3. We'll start with 4-and-4. Again, there's Monahan. Here could be the problem. Let's put, Quines in on that one. Let's put Tkachuk in here with Backlund. So we'll give him some 4-on-4 time. 4-on-4 continuous. He was on the third one. We'll put Lindholm in here to get Lindholm some time. And then when you look at 3-on-3, that's the only other lines we could put them in. And again, there's Monahan, there's Tkachuk, and let's get Lindholm in here. Let's get Lindholm in here instead of Derek Ryan. Lindholm. So we got them pretty much in exactly where they need to be. I also want to put Rasmus Anderson in here instead of TJ Brody. So we're not making too many changes. We're just trying to put Tkachuk and again, there's Tkachuk on the extras as well. So just trying to put Tkachuk, Monahan, Lindholm in all situations we can, maybe to try and boost their offense. But again, they're on the top 2 lines, top power play units, everything. So I don't know what else to do in terms of giving them ice time. It is what it is. We're just hoping that they can pick it up somehow. But again, 2nd overall in the league in offense, so I don't know why we're panicking too much. It's just you would like to see those players individually, have career years like they did last year. But I think last year was such a good year that we can't expect that out of them. And as we're saying that, there is Sean Monahan scoring, so he gets his 11th of the season. Good to see that as he beats Henrik Lundqvist 1-0 Flames. Second period, there's Austin Czarnik and Pavel Buchnevich, for the New York Rangers. 2-1. Do we hang on in the third? Looks like we do. Each team's trading goals once again. Temi Panarin scoring for them, and Elias Lindholm. So there's Lindholm adding another goal. So I think that's just what we have to do, is just keep simming, hope that they just keep contributing there. 2-point night there for Monahan as well. Gaudreau also picking up a point, and Lindholm and David Riddick back to 929 save percentage. So we're just going to continue to roll. That's what I'm trying to get at, to a long spiel here to start this episode. But the main thing is I just want to continue to roll here. Just continue to sim. We're going to get up to the end of the trade deadline by the end of this episode, and then we can kind of look over our options and see what we want to do at the deadline. I'm thinking we probably will, look at where we could improve. Maybe depth scoring a little bit. Again, I don't know. We're going to look at our numbers again. Maybe we need to look at the blue line. Maybe we do want to look at the goaltending still. We'll look at that in the next, at the end of this episode to start the next episode here. So we pick up 3-2 win here against the Minnesota Wild as well. So we stay 2-0 to start off the new year of 2020. And I forgot to look at the stats. But I believe Gaudreau and then Mangiapane, I think, had 2 goals in that one as well. So not a bad way. We also ended off that month on a 3-game winning streak in the last episode. So we are on a 5-game winning streak. I just want to check here. And Johnny Gaudreau just hit the 50-point plateau. So again, halfway through the season, he's already at 50 points. So yeah, I believe we ended off here on a 4-game winning streak, and now we added another, or we ended off on a 3-game winning streak, including a huge win over the Oilers there in the last episode in regulation. So we picked up 2 points there, and then we picked up. So we're on a 5-game winning streak, is what I'm trying to say here. So that's good as we head back into another game against Chicago. So let's get into this game against Chicago. But yeah, 5-game winning streak, so we're staying up there. But you can see the Oilers are winning too. They're at 60 points, so we're still 2 points back of them. Excuse me. So we just got to keep rolling here and hope that they eventually do lose. But again, there's Johnny Gaudreau sitting at 29 goals and 50 points. So he's having a really good start to this season. There is Derek Ryan and Andrew Mangiapane. This could be the other thing about our scoring as well, is the fact that we are getting offense from guys like Derek Ryan and Mangiapane, even Bennett and guys like that are in our bottom 6. Let me just take a drink here. Guys that are scoring in our bottom 6 are probably scoring a little bit more than usual. for a bottom six, guys like Hamnick. I believe that's one of Hamnick's first actually on the season. But usually you just don't see these type of guys scoring. There is Matthew Tkachuk finally getting a goal, and then again Derek Ryan with a second goal this game. So I think it's guys like Derek Ryan that are stepping up. That we usually don't see a lot of offense from them. I think our offense is a little bit more spread out because you can see there Derek Ryan leads us with a 3-point night. But yeah, I think our offense is a little bit more spread out in terms of overall. Than most teams, so I think that's why we don't have guys that are near the top other than Johnny Gaudreau in terms of points and goals. So we are now on a 6-game winning streak, and I don't know why I clicked on the schedule, but 6-game winning streak. We got the Minnesota Wild again. We just played them. We just beat them. So let's get into this game against Mini and just keep simming here. Gaudreau still sitting at 50 points, and I believe we are still sitting in second in our division, or now we're first, so we do tie the Edmonton Oilers for first place, and we have the same amount of games played, so we must have the other tiebreaker. I'm not sure what it is. Let's simulate here. It's Wild. All we can do is keep winning, and we've got another game actually coming up next against the Edmonton Oilers that will be pretty big. So first period, Tkachuk, there we go. Probably the first multi-goal game of the season for Matthew Tkachuk. The more we can see out of this guy, the better. If he can have a second half, really good second half for us, that's all we can ask from Matthew Tkachuk. I think he's already got 3 or 4 goals here in the second half of the season. So it is a 2-2 game after regulation. We want that extra point here against Mini. So we are going to overtime and nothing. We are going to the shootout, and crap, they get the shootout winner. Goals from Zuccarello and Kevin Fiala. So we do pick up a point. Our 5-game win streak comes to an end there, but we do pick up a point here to keep our point streak up. 2 goals from Tkachuk, that's huge for a league chipping in on that line as well. And then 9-2-9. So Riddick's been really good to start off this new year as well. After a shaky month of December, he's actually picked it up here. So now here's the big game of the month. It is the Edmonton Oilers. Like I said, the top team in our division with us and in our conference. We sit 1 point ahead of them there with 61 through 46 games. They sit with 60 points, through 45 games, or through 46 games. I had to look a little closer there. So both teams have 46 games played. We have 1 more point than we do, but we need this game in regulation. We beat them in regulation in December there for our first meeting of the season. That was huge. We can't let them get any points here. We have to continue to beat the Edmonton Oilers every time we play them in regulation. We cannot give this team any points. So first period, Flames Oilers, they get 2 huge goals. Former Flame Alex Chiasson and then Oscar Clefbaum as well. 2-0 Oilers after 1. Come on, Calgary. You have to have a huge response here in the second. Oh my goodness. Massive period for them. Another former Flame, Mikhail Granlund, and Chris Russell, another former Flame, and then Darnell Nurse really sticking to us. We got Cam Talbot in net. So again, I didn't check the goaltending, but they put Cam Talbot in net against his former team. I just want to go back to the first period. So yeah, Cam Talbot's been in net for all 5 goals. Wouldn't be surprised if Riddick comes in now, as it is a 5-0 Edmonton Oilers game. And then we do get 1 late goal from Matthew Tkachuk beating the former Flame Mike Smith. But we lose this one 5-1. So Cam Talbot comes in, which was actually okay because Riddick had about good 5 to 10 starts there in a row, so it wasn't a bad idea maybe to get Talbot into the game. The only problem is he just did not have a good night at all. -3 as well for Sean Monahan. He really struggled in this one, and then Talbot struggling as well with an .857 save percentage. So that was probably a coaching decision to put Talbot in. Again, I talked about in the last episode, I want to keep auto rotation on in terms of goalies for the American League, because I want to make sure that down there, I know Zagadulin is, here's Mark Jankowski, speaking of injuries, but I know Zagadulin is injured currently, but I want to make sure he and Parsons are getting an even split. So I think I'm going to take out Austin Zarnik here and put Janko back in. Janko also has been somewhat good for us this season, so we'll put him down there on the 4th line. Derek Ryan's been playing okay the last few games, so we'll keep him there on the 3rd line, but we'll get Janko back into the lineup here, and then make sure we get David Riddick back into the net here. But yeah, not a bad idea to put Talbot in there in that game, because like I said, get him some starts, but at the same time, he just had a poor night there. Riddick was playing well. I might have leaned towards Riddick a little bit, especially in a big divisional game in which we just gave up 2 points to the Edmonton Oilers. So obviously they leapfrog us for 62 points there. We have 61, but we'll obviously just keep on going and do what we can do and control what we can do, and that's just winning hockey games. So we got the Montreal Canadiens here in the Bell Center, first period, 1-0 on a goal from their captain, Shea Weber. Second period, come on Flames. We get 2, but they also get 1 Gallagher, and then we get 2 from Frolik and Derek Ryan staying hot, beating Carey Price. Huge third period, Calgary. Yes, we do. We get the goal from Mark Giordano, our reigning Norris Trophy winning defenseman and captain, to propel us to a 3-2 win over the Canadiens. So huge win there for the Calgary Flames, bouncing back from a loss there against the Oilers, and Riddick back into the pipes, and he goes 9-1-3 there against the Habs. So huge win there for Riddick and the Flames as we get back into the win column. And now we got the Toronto Maple Leafs, and if I wasn't mistaken, these two teams were near the bottom of their division when we looked at the standings last. So let's just look here. Yeah, you can see the Canadians are actually dead last in their division. And are they dead last in the East? They are. 41 points for some reason. Montreal is sitting in the basement of the Eastern Conference. The Toronto Maple Leafs, they actually did move up a little bit. They're now 5th in their division, 43 points there, tied with the Detroit Red Wings. So we got to take advantage of these teams. They're maybe not as good of a team as they were projected to be, but like we talked about in the last episode, that's happened quite a bit, or to quite a few teams already. So again, I just want to keep David Riddick in net. I want to make sure they didn't auto put Talbot in net here. Yeah, so Riddick's still playing. Want to keep him in, because he is rolling to start off this month, so that is good. So simulate this game here against the Maple Leafs, and then we got the Senators, and the Senators are another surprising top team in the league here, so that'll be another big game for us. First period, 0-0 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Flames in the ACC. Second period, 3 goals by them. Mitch Marner scoring twice, and then Alex Kerfoot beating David Riddick. We have to have a huge comeback here in the third period. Come on, Flames. We do. Massive comeback by the Calgary Flames. They do score. It is a excuse me, it is a goal for them, but then you can see Alan Kwai and TJ Brody, Andre Mangiapane, and Michael Backlund all finding the back of the net for us to send this game to overtime and get us that point. Do we get the extra? And we do. What a comeback by the Flames. For the second straight game in a row, Mark Giordano has the game-winning goal. This time it comes in overtime, and that is a huge comeback win for the Flames. So that's what you like to see there, is anytime your team is down. I think we were down 3-0 there after 40 minutes of play, your team can come back. David Riddick, not the best night, but his team bailed him out there with a huge comeback there against Leafs. So I mean, these are the games you want to find a way to win, and that's definitely a good thing. So we got the Ottawa Senators here next, I believe, to finish off the month of January, because it is the All-Star break after this game against the Senators. Again, I want to keep Riddick in net because he's coming off 2 straight wins. In fact, he's coming off a string of wins even before he was taken out of net. So we'll keep Riddick in net. And if Riddick can boost his numbers here and really get up back to having even better numbers than he already does have, then maybe we aren't even looking close to looking for a goaltender at the trade deadline. So let's get this game here against Ottawa. Again, keeping the exact same lineup. We are doing pretty well, minus that loss to the Edmonton Oilers. It's been a really good start to this month. So first period here against the Sens, 2-0 for them. Brady Tkachuk and Ron Hainsey scoring for the Senators. Second period, another 2 goals for them. It is Brady Tkachuk again and Wolan. Not sure how to pronounce that guy's name. And the third final period, and then Sean Monahan scoring for us. But they do get the 4-1 win. So again, Ottawa's a top team here. I expected this one to be a tough one for us, but you still want to find a way to win these to be amongst the top teams there. And it's just Sean Monahan getting the only goal for us. Riddick does go 8-1-8, so I wonder if maybe we do take him out of net now and give Talbot another start. I don't know when our next game is. It's not until after the All-Star break, so we'll sim up to this game here against St. Louis. Central Scouting, okay. So an incoming trade, it is getting close to trade season, and it is the Carolina Hurricanes, or excuse me, this is not an incoming trade, this is just a trade alert. Sorry, I thought this was an incoming trade for us. It's a trade alert, so it is the Carolina Hurricanes getting the goalie that we were actually looking at a little bit there in Anton Khudobin. So he does end up getting traded. This time he goes to Carolina with a fourth and prospect, it looks like, and coming back is Eric Holla and a seventh with James Reimer as well. So just a little bit of a trade there between the Hurricanes and the Stars, I believe it was. There, and here's our first incoming trade of the season, and look who it is, the Edmonton Oilers. They want to actually do business with us. And okay, so what is this? They are asking for our first round pick in next year's draft, and Tyler Parsons, one of our top prospects in net, for a former Flame Alex Chiasson and a third. Like, I'm just not. I'm sorry. Is there something I'm missing? I just do not see how this is even close to a fair trade. Parsons is got better trade value than Chiasson by far. Chiasson's in his 30s and a top 9 forward at best. Parsons still has starter potential, and then they're asking for a third for a first. So definitely, obviously, declined that trade. That was just a joke coming in from the Edmonton Oilers, and then obviously we got to play them here 2 more times here in the next how many days. So that should be fun. I don't know why they would even propose that trade. That's a weird trade. We're not looking for Chiasson and a third anyway, and we're certainly not giving up our first next year and Parsons for just that. That's a weak trade, in my opinion. But anyway, let's get going here. First game back from the All-Star break. It is Milan Lucic getting the goal for the Calgary Flames against the defending champs. 1-0 Flames, second period. Another big goal for us, this time Alan Quine. You can see the bottom six just continuing to come through for us. So I don't think depth scoring is actually a problem for us. Alan Quine, guys like this, Milan Lucic, but especially guys like Derek Ryan and guys like that have been stepping up. On the bottom six, really have been doing well. In the beginning of the season, it was Andrew Mangiapane and Sam Bennett, and Mark Jankowski. Those 3 players are the ones. Now it seems to be more like Derek Ryan, Alan Quine, guys like this. So we're getting the bottom six contribution, scoring from the bottom six as well. Contributing, So that's why I'm not too concerned right now about. And there's Mangiapane to net the game-winning goal in this one. So I'm not too concerned about the depth, and I think that's also why we're seeing a little scoring from our top six, or maybe not little scoring, but not as much scoring as we had expected, especially coming off a year like last year from our top six, other than Johnny Gaudreau, who's just have had a stellar season so far. So 9-2-3 for David Rick. So he actually bounces back here with a nice game after the All-Star break. Took a little bit of rest there. And gets a nice game for us there. So now is the big games here. So we have back-to-back games against the Edmonton Oilers. So first off, Artem Zagadulin, is ready to come back into the lineup. So let's go here to our American League team, take out Nick Schneider. Hopefully Parsons was playing the majority of those games, but let's get Zagadulin back in here into a starting role, and then rotate there with Parsons. But here's the big stretch of games. We got 2 back-to-back games here against the Edmonton Oilers to end and start off the month of January and February. So let's just take an updated look here at the standings. You can see we now sit 2 points clear of them at 67 points, but we also have played 2 more games than them. I'm looking at the Ducks here. So that's the Ducks. The Oilers are actually now behind the Ducks with 64 points. So we actually sit a good 3 points clear, 3 points clear of the Edmonton Oilers, and 2. But we have played 2 more games than they have. So they have 2 games in hand, but we do sit ahead of them there in the standings. But we still want to take advantage of this. Obviously, we want to take advantage of the fact that we have played more games than them, so we don't want to give them those games in hand, and also we want to continue to get these points. It's going to be a battle between us and Edmonton anyway at the end of the season. Anaheim looks like they might be in there. Vegas might be up in there as well, but we really need to win these games and control the games we can. So any games against Edmonton, Anaheim, Vegas, we have to be winning all these games in regulation at this point if we want a shot at defending the Pacific Division. So I just want to make sure David Rick is in net here for these 2 games. We'll obviously give him this first one, see how he does in this first one. Probably give him the second one as well. So see, there they go. They put Cam Talbot in net. They were going to try Talbot again against the Oilers. He just played them, like a week ago, and had a pretty poor performance. So no, that's not happening. We're keeping Riddick in net. So here we go. Edmonton, Calgary for the 3rd time this season. The season series is 1-1 apiece. So let's see if we can start to get these games in regulation against the Oilers. So first period, and you can see we've jumped off to a 2-1 lead. Mark Giordano and Mark Jankowski, the former Flame James Neal, scoring for the Oilers. Second period. Wow. What a second period for the Calgary Flames against the Oilers. That's what you want to see. Monahan, Tkachuk, Gio, Backlund, and Elias Lindholm. Third period to finish it off, and we add an extra one by Rasmus Andersson just to make it that much sweeter. So an 8-1 win, beating on the Edmonton Oilers. That's what you want to see. Massive divisional game. They're going to be obviously angry heading into the next game here in a couple days, but that is just huge. 3-point night for Frolik, Giordano, Monahan getting 2 points, Tkachuk getting 2 points, Backlund, and onward. So really good. Was Gaudreau just had 1 point somehow in that one, and then 9-4-1. Really good night there for David Rittich. Only faced 17 shots, but a good night there all around for our team. So that's obviously what you want to see, and that's why I kept Rittich in net as well. That was back-to-back games, but at this point in the season, if they're huge games, I'm going to play Rittich back-to-back over Talbot, especially if he's the better goalie. Or if Talbot's playing better and Rittich's struggling at one point, and there is back-to-back games and they're big and Talbot's playing really well, then maybe we'll put Talbot back-to-back. But like I said, we want to make sure we are winning the games now. We're at that point of the season where it is the grind in the season, so we want to make sure we are getting as many points here as we can. So 32, 15, and 5. They're 32, 17, and 2. We should be at 69 points, and they're sitting at 66 points. So let's see if we can just continue to maybe clear ourselves a little bit more room from them here against the Oilers. If we can take this one as well, that would be a massive game. We can't give them a split once again here on the season series. So first period, they do get the first goal of the hockey game, Zach Kassian. A second period, we get 2, Johnny Gaudreau, and Rasmus Andersson gets his second goal in as many games, but Connor McDavid shows up in this series as he gets his first goal, I believe, of the Battle of Alberta, and it is a 2-2 tie. Massive third period here in the Pacific Division. Showdown between the Oilers and the Flames. Huge third period. Shoot, they get the goal. It is former Flame Mikael Granlund. Marcus Granlund, excuse me. Mikael Granlund is now in, Nashville? So Marcus Granlund scoring for them there, and they get the 3-2 win. So the season series is back at a 2-2 split. They get the 2 huge points to close the gap a little bit on us. Not what you want to see there. If we could have just found a way to at least, grab a point of that one, but at the same time, you don't want to give them a point. Rittich didn't play too bad, 906. But we just probably didn't get as much offense as we had hoped for in that one, especially in the third period, just nobody showing up with that one. So we now sit at 69 points. They sit 1 point back at 68, and they do have a game in hand on us. So let's just continue on with our season and hope that they start to go on a losing streak and that we can keep winning. That's all we can hope for now. Other than when we face them, there's not much we can do. So let's hope that they keep losing and we keep winning. So now we got the San Jose Sharks that are down at the bottom of our division, I believe it is. They're 7th in our division. Not having a good year at all, are the San Jose Sharks. So we'll just roll with the same lineup. We've been pretty good here to start off the new year. I believe we only have how many losses in our last 15 games. So let's just keep rolling here. First period, 3-0 Sharks. Kane, Carlson, LeBanc. Second period, we do get one from Johnny. They get one from Logan Couture. And the fourth period, we do tie it up. Excuse me, I said fourth period, I meant third period. Johnny Gaudreau, Michael Backlund, Sean Monahan. Somehow we find a way to come back. This is what we should have did against the Oilers in the last game, was found a way in that third period to dig deep and tie the game up. Obviously, we do it in this one, so we get a massive point. I'm not too concerned about giving this extra point to San Jose because they do look like they're far enough down there. But at the same time, you never know, they could catch up. But hopefully we can just get this extra point here against San Jose. Overtime, nothing, shootout. Yes, we do get the shootout win here. Alan Quine somehow coming through for us in this one. So 5-4 final, we will take it. 3-point night for Monahan, Lindholm, and Johnny Gaudreau. Good night for the top line there. And then 8-8-6 for David Rittich, so not as good of a night for Rittich, but we did get the win. So as long as we're getting the wins too, shouldn't really matter too much. But we'll try and get Talbot into another game here. He hasn't played since that Edmonton game, so we'll try and get him a game here. But let's just keep rolling. We got Nashville now. We're just continuing to find a way to string some W's together. If we can find a way. I'm struggling again today. I apologize. First period here, Michael Frolik, Johnny Gaudreau for us. Ryan Johansson scoring for them. 2-1 second period. It is Philip Forsberg. Tie game. Do we have another huge third period in us? We do. We have 2 goals from Andrew Mangiapane and Sam Bennett. They get one from Johansson, but we do pull away with a 4-3 win. So a lot of games that have been close, but again, we're finding a way to win them, so that's all that matters. 2-point night there for Tkachuk and Backlund. and Riddick responding with an 8.97 save percentage. So might get Talbot into the next one there. A couple poor nights in a row for David Riddick. I'm just looking here. Canucks are dead last in the league, in the division, I should say. So we will put Talbot in for this one against Vancouver. I think that's a good one. Sean Monahan now leading us with 58 points in 55 games, so he has surpassed Johnny Gaudreau. Again, only 14 goals on the season for Sean Monahan, but look at that, 44 points for Sean Monahan. So he has found a way to surpass Johnny Gaudreau, probably by just a point, to lead us in that category. So let's put in Cam Talbot here for this one. Give him a very easy team here against Vancouver. They're 19, 26, and 10 on the season. So let's get this game underway. Excuse me. So yeah, we'll try and give Talbot an easier game here. So first period here against the Vancouver Canucks, it is 1-0 for them. They get one from JT Miller. Second period, another goal. They beat Talbot. It's Alexander Edler on the power play. And do we have another third period comeback in us? Come on, Flames. We do get one from Johnny, but it's not enough. So our offense goes quiet in this one. They throw 37 shots at Talbot. Not a bad night for Talbot, who only lets in one goal, but our offense not helping him out in this one at all. So we need a little bit more out of our offense. 9-4-6 for Talbot in this one. So, the worst team in probably the Western Conference, or now I guess they're not, San Jose is, but they were one of the worst teams in the Western Conference and at the bottom of the division, and we do not beat them. But we do get the worst team now in the division in San Jose, who they just leapfrog. So we got to play the Sharks again. Here's another trade alert. So it looks like Nazem Kadri, his time in Colorado has come to a very quick end. He's going to Chicago with Matt Calvert, and the Avalanche getting back a first-round pick, and it looks like a couple prospects there. So Chicago pulling in a couple good depth players there. So I believe Chicago was at the top of the Central. So is Colorado. So Chicago's third place and Colorado second. I'm not sure why Colorado would trade away such an important piece in Nazem Kadri and a depth piece in Matt Calvert, for prospects and a draft pick to Chicago. I can understand why the Blackhawks would do that, but I do not understand why the Avalanche did that, as they are sitting only second place in the division and not too far behind Winnipeg either for first place in the Central. So that's a little bit of a shocking move there by the Colorado Avalanche. But anyways, the trades are starting to come through as we are getting close to the deadline. There we are, 73 points, 1 point ahead of the Ducks and the Oilers. So we desperately need as many points here as we can get coming off that loss. We got the San Jose Sharks now, and I think I just left Talbot in net, but he's coming off a good game, so that's okay. 2 goals as I say that for the Sharks, Couture and Kane, second period. Another 2 goals. Hopefully Riddick comes in here. Thornton and Riddell, and third period. Again, offense going quiet in this one. Talbot probably didn't have a good night, but we're just not getting enough offense here in these last couple of games. So, you're going to have these times, just looking here, -3, Gaudreau, Lindholm, Brody. You're going to have these points in the season where your offense does dry up for, a period of time, whether it's, a string of games, a week, a month, but obviously you don't want it to go too long. So we need to find a way here to get our offense going again. We got back-to-back games here coming up against the Kings and the Ducks. Talbot has lost 2 straight, so I'm going to get David Riddick back in, and then Talbot will probably get that Anaheim game. But again, these are important games. So if Riddick has a really good game here for us against LA, I might just keep him in for back-to-back games, because Talbot just lost 2 games in a row. So let's get Riddick back in here for us, and maybe look at what we've got here. So I'm just taking a look here. Yeah, okay, so let's go Flames and Kings. Not going to make any lineup changes. We just got actually I am. I'm going to make a couple. Our offense has gone a little dry here in the last few games here. So let's take Quine's been contributing. Let's put Jankowski back up there with Bennett and Mangiapane and see if that makes a slight difference. I was going to take Quine out and put Zarnik in, but Quine's been playing pretty well for us, so we'll keep Quine in. So here we go, Kings and Flames. Simulate this one here. Monahan still leading us there with 60 points in 57 games. So here we go. First period, 2 goals here. That's what you want to see. Second line getting it done. Backlund and Kachuk, second period. nothing. Do we hang on in the third? We do. We add a goal by Frolik to cap off that 3M line on the second line there. Each member getting a goal in this one, and that gives us a 3-0 shutout win. So +3 for that line, obviously 3 points for Tkachuk and Frolik, and 2 points for Backlund as they get all the scoring done. And David Rigg has the 18 save shutout performance. So we will leave him in net. Again, only 18 shots faced in that one, and it is back-to-back nights. But I need these wins right now. We're coming off, a few losses there. We need to start. Talbot wasn't playing too well, and we need to start finding a way to string wins together. Because are the Oilers ahead of us now? No, we're still ahead of them by 1 point, but they are just. I mean, they're not going away. Edmonton's not going away at all. So we got to just keep winning games here to get points. So now we got the Anaheim Ducks. So let's simulate this game. So they're not too far behind us. This is another one of those Pacific Division games where we must get 2 points in regulation. So here we go. Big game here. And they get the first one of this one. Brian Boyle. Second period, we tie it up. Huge goal there by Andrew Mangiapane. We need this one in regulation. Come on, Flames. This one's tied. Mangiapane getting a second. Sam Steele. So we do end up giving a point to the Anaheim Ducks. We have to just make sure that we take that second point. That is so important right now. Come on, Flames. Come on, nothing in the overtime shootout. Fuck me. Okay, Ryan Getzlaf getting the overtime or the shootout winner, and that is 2 points that we just gave up to the Ducks. That is not good at all. So again, another one of those teams that are right there with us in the top of the division. And again, pretty much our offense going dry, other than that third line. There's Mangiapane and Jankowski on it. And then Riddick does have a pretty good night there, 9-5-1. Putting up a 39 saves on 41 shots. So they did throw a lot of shots at Riddick. But we just didn't get enough offense in that one. Maybe that we would have liked. We did lose in a shootout. We did get the extra point. But we gave up 2 points to Anaheim. And we play them again here coming up. So we have to make sure that we are winning when we play them again. So the Vancouver Canucks are placing this guy on waivers. You know what? I'm just going to decline this right now. I'm not too worried about it. He is in the American League. I'm not too worried about our American League team. So I'm just not going to worry about that. We have a defenseman down in the American League. So we will replace him very quickly here with whoever. It doesn't matter. Just not really worried about the AHL this year. Just because I just don't. We don't have. I'm just not worried about them. I'm just worried about our prospects growing down there, making sure that guys like Oliver Shillington, Dylan Dubé are doing well, Artem Zagadulin in between the pipes. But I'm just not worried about how they're doing. Usually I would try and boost the team down there, but I'm more concerned about what we're doing up here in terms of franchise mode. We're worrying about our NHL level team here in terms of the Calgary Flames. The goal is to win a Stanley Cup, nothing else. It's just winning a Stanley Cup, and you don't achieve that in the American League. You achieve that here in the NHL. So. Incoming trade here from the Avalanche, who continue to want to trade away some of their roster players. This time they want to give up Colin Wilson to us and a 7th for a 5th and a 3rd. You know what? I'm just going to look at what Wilson is. I think I'm going to decline this trade, but I just want to see what Colin Wilson is. I don't know if we have the salary cap to get this done, but 80 overall, 3rd line scorer, top 9. He's only played 9 games this year, which is weird. So I wonder if he's been injured quite a bit. And he's only got 6 points, but again, only 9 games. He is on a 1-year contract. 2.6 though. I don't know if I want to take on 2.6. 80 overall. I'm going to decline this trade for now. Because we can probably come back and explore it as a trade deadline is just around the corner as a depth piece. But just looking here, when you look at what we got down here, yeah, these guys are not 80 down here, but they're getting the job done. Like I said, our bottom 6 is getting the job done, for the most part. So I'm not too concerned about, adding some more scoring down here. Again, Bennett's pretty much an 80. Jankowski's pretty much an 80. Mangiapane is an 85, excuse me. Lucci's pretty much an 80. Derek Ryan's pretty much an 80. They're all 79s. And then Quine's in 75. So I don't know if he would be much of an upgrade over any of those guys. Plus, they are getting the job done. So I think we'll decline that trade. We got just looking here, we got the Chicago Blackhawks. Sorry, I was just thinking, who do we have in net? We still have Riddick in net, unless they threw Talbot in. Let's just double check that. Because Riddick's had some pretty good nights here in a row, so I want to keep him in the net. Yeah, so he's still in the goal. I just never know when they're going to stick Talbot in. They've just done it in such random games so far this year. So let's get to this one, simulate. And yes, so we're about halfway through the month here of February. The trade deadline comes at the end of this month, so it's coming up pretty soon here. So we'll just evaluate what we've got here coming up. So first period, Johnny Gaudreau, he responds, getting us back into the scoring column here. Then 2 goals from Milan Lucic here, so it is a 3-0 Flames lead. And then adding a goal is Matthew Tkachuk. So 4-0. Corey Crawford in net, by the way, for this one. So just a little look there at Corey Crawford, who we were going to actually go after. He lets in 4 goals in this one. 2 goals to Milan Lucic. 2-point night for Monahan Gio as well. We're getting the win here, and the save out, 24 save shutout performance for David Riddick. For Riddick, so he has another good night here for us. Just want to look at here when the trade deadline is coming up. Should be very soon here. So yeah, we got what, 3 games till the trade deadline, because the Boston game is right on the trade deadline. Excuse me. So we got the Anaheim Ducks, then the Bruins, and then the Red Wings, and then it is trade deadline time. So 3 more games here, and then I think we will look at what we have and end the episode here. So another big trade coming in as we're pulling close to the trade deadline. This time the Sharks are shipping out their veteran, longtime veteran forward Joe Thornton. Jumbo Joe is on the move for the first time in his career, other than when he went to San Jose from Boston to start his career. He is finally moving once again, this time going to the defending champs, the St. Louis Blues, with a 4th and Tim Heed for a couple draft picks there, just a 2nd and a 3rd back for Joe Thornton. So San Jose, obviously bottom of our division, no surprise there that they are this one makes sense, not like that one with Colorado and who was it, Chicago. Colorado and Chicago, where they're both at the top of their division, and for some reason the Avalanche are sending away all their players, especially a guy like Nazem Kadri, Matt Calvert, Colin Wilson, some really good depth guys for them. For some reason, they were trading them away. So I don't know why. But this one makes sense. The Sharks would be trading away guys like Tim Heed and Joe Thornton because they're at the bottom of their division and they're not going to be in the playoffs this year, and Thornton's likely going to retire at the end of the season. So that makes sense. The last one, though, between Colorado and Chicago didn't really make sense, but is what it is. So anyways, we have the Anaheim Ducks again here. So just want to take a quick look here at our division. 78 points is where we sit with through 60 games. Again, the Oilers just 2 points back with a game in hand, but there's the Anaheim Ducks, just 4 points back from us with a game in hand. So this is why we really have to win these games against Anaheim. That we had to get that game against them a couple games ago where we lost in a shootout. We didn't, so we need to get this one. There's no way we can give up 2 or 4 points to the Anaheim Ducks. Even giving up 3 points to the Anaheim Ducks in 2 games is not good at all. So we have to find a way to win this one. So really quickly making sure, again, David Riddick is in net. I have to do this before every game because this auto rotation is just going to put Talbot in at any second here. So making sure Riddick is in goal. Riddick's really emerged, I think, throughout this episode as the starter. Talbot has not been good in the new year in 2020 in this episode number 3, whereas I think Riddick has been the absolute opposite. So I think Riddick is emerging. It'll be interesting to look at his numbers again at the end of this episode. So first period here, huge one against the Ducks, and we get 3 huge goals. They get 1. Jankowski, Quine, and Brody scoring for us. Nick Ritchie scoring for the Anaheim Ducks. Second period, come on. Yes, another huge goal. This time it's Matthew Tkachuk. We have to hang on for this third period. Come on, Calgary, don't blow this. Huge third period by the Flames. Lindholm, Mangiapane, and Tkachuk again, and it's a 7-1 beatdown against the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. So that's what you like to see there for sure from the Calgary Flames. Multiple points for guys there. Lindholm, Tkachuk, Brody, Mangiapane, Backlund onward. So that's what you want to see. 9-7-5. Really good night there for David Riddick, who gets the job done between the pipes. So massive win there. We do end up giving them 2 points though in 2 games, but we claimed 3 points in 2 games against them. So that helps us there. Again, they have that game in hand on us, so that's the problem. Is Edmonton's got 2 games on hand on us right now, and the Anaheim Ducks have a game on hand on us. But we sit at 80 points, so we sit 4 points clear of the Edmonton Oilers right now, and 6 points clear of the Anaheim Ducks. And it looks like we have one more game, I think it is, until the trade deadline. It's this one here against Boston, or is there one more? I think there was one more. All right, so it was slowly simulating here as there's another trade going down. This time, the Winnipeg Jets are acquiring defensemen Mike Green and Dion Phaneuf from the Detroit Red Wings for a first and Matthew Perreault. So it looks like Winnipeg is up there as well, trying to add some depth there for a long Stanley Cup playoff run. So it looks like this guy here is ready to come back. You know what? I'm not even going to put him back in. I don't care. Here's an incoming trade for us. So 2 second-round picks is what they want, the Islanders. They want to give us a 4th, a 6th, and Derek Brassard. So again, same thing as the last one that came to us, the last trade with Colorado, where they wanted to give us Colin Wilson. I don't know if Derek Brassard is much of an upgrade over what we already have in our bottom 6. So he comes in with, he's actually got top 6 potential, and he actually is listed as a second line forward, but he's only at 82. So I guess that's kind of like what Frolik is at. But actually, when I'm looking at his stats there, he does have 12 goals, 26 assists there through 54 games. So that's not bad. When we look at his career stats, I mean, he is a guy that, has been kind of inconsistent, but this year he's already got 38 points through 54 games, so that's not bad. And they want 2 seconds. That's a lot to give up 2 seconds though, for Brassard. What was his contract like here? I just want to look down here. He's just got 1 year left, so he's likely going to be a rental as well. But he does play center. I do like that. He'd probably be a slight upgrade over a guy like Derek Ryan and Mark Jankowski. That's another thing we can explore. We're only 3 days away from the trade deadline, so unless Brassard gets traded in the next 3 days, that's something we could come back to. But let's get up to the trade deadline. Let's get these games against. We only got 2 games here until we will start our trade deadline. So let's get this Boston-Detroit game out of the way here. Hopefully we can pick up a couple wins here. We got the Bruins here, first period. 1-1 is the score. Mangiapane and Nordstrom. Second period, they get one from David Pastrnak. Come on, Calgary, pull back in the third period. We do, but they get another one. Brett Ritchie and Matthew Tkachuk scoring. So they do beat us in regulation here. And we will play them again on trade deadline day. Just want to see how Riddick did here. 9-2-1. Another good night for David Riddick, or a decent night for David Riddick, I should say. So we'll leave Riddick in net for this Detroit game. Let's get this last game of the way, and then we can really start looking at our options here. So multiple players in Stockton now. Okay, yeah. I don't. You know what? I'm gonna go out of Stockton for now. What I will do is I will go into our Stockton team at the end of this episode when we're not on camera here and edit it, so I don't waste the time in the episode time. But I will focus on trying to get back down there and improve that American League team, because as much as I don't care, I should make sure that that team is winning as many games as they can. So they want a huge trade here, the Montreal Canadiens do. They want to give us Max Domi and a third, but look what they want back. 2 first-round picks, Tyler Parsons, and another prospect here. So, wow. They want like 2, or probably a B-level prospect and a C-level prospect, and 2 first-round picks for Max Domi and a third. So Domi must be having a really good year, because that's a lot to ask for 2 first-round picks. I just want to look again at this really quickly. So Domi, 86 overall there, has 49 points through 63 games, so he's almost put up 50 points this season. 86, that's not bad. But again, he plays center. So, he would be behind Monahan and he would be behind Backlund. That's the problem. And you're definitely not putting this guy in your third line. Can we go down to... Oops. I want to go down to... What are we doing here? There we go. I want to go down to contract. And again, 1 year left, so that's the problem. If he had a little bit more term on his contract, I'm certainly not paying 2 first-round picks and prospects for a rental player. As much as he would help us, that's tough. And if he was a winger, if he was like a right winger and he could step on that second line with Tkachuk and Backlund at 86, I would probably do this trade right away. But as centerman, he's playing behind Backlund and Monahan. That's an interesting one, though. That is an interesting... I don't know. That's a lot to give up, though. Monahan already at a 90. So Monahan started the year at an 88. He's already grown to a 90 for our top line center spot. And Michael Backlund is an 84. So yes, he's 2 below what Max Domi is. Excuse me. I'm trying to think of the player. But he's really reliable on that second line for us. So I think I want to keep Backlund over Domi. Plus, I mean, we would be keeping Backlund. It's just that one of them would be getting slotted to that. You know what? That's not bad, though. It's not a bad idea. That's not a bad... It's just... The thing is, I don't want to give up 2 firsts. I would be okay, obviously, with giving up Parsons and this other prospect, and maybe one of the first-round picks. Like, would they do... If I took the third out of here, and I took out our 2021 first, that I would do. Do a first, Parsons, this prospect. You'd probably obviously would have to add another pick, but I don't want to give up a first here. So, like I would give up like a first and a third. Would that? I don't know. That kind of looks close. I think it still wouldn't go through on their end, but that kind of looks close. You know what? I'm gonna come back to this trade, Domi, unless he gets traded literally in the next day here, which we would get an alert if he does. So let's do this Detroit game, and then we're gonna end this episode and start our trade deadline. Because I always like to do the trade deadline before the actual day, so you don't have to worry about it on the day of. So we're actually going to do our trade deadline as soon as this game's done. So let's just simulate this game. I might come back to Max Domi. That's not a bad trade. Obviously, Montreal's looking to get rid of him. So, and there's multiple pieces that we have, including draft picks and prospects like Tyler Parsons that they are interested in. So we could easily explore this trade. But anyways, the Jankowski and Bennett scoring for us. It'd be nice to get a win here. We get another one from Johnny in the third period. We get a couple goals they do as well. Johnny and Lindholm scoring for us, so we pick up a win here against Detroit. And it looks like a 3-point night there for Johnny, Monty, Lindholm. So the top line doing good there. Talbot was in net for this one, which I guess is okay. 9-1-2. Yeah, I'm just thinking, like if we went Monahan and then we went Domi on that second line with Kachuk, and then we put Backlund on the third line, like we would be so deep down the middle, like so deep. So I'm not even going to sim any more days here because now we're basically in trade deadline mode. I'm going to explore our options. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to end this episode here just because it's going to take a lot of time. What I'm going to do is what I do every trade deadline is I'm going to go through every single team. So I'm not just going to go on the trading block. I'm actually going to go into the trade screen and just go through every team and see what they're willing to give up. First of all, I got to determine what we're willing to do at the trade deadline. So I wasn't really looking at boosting our offense and our forwards at all because I thought we were pretty good in that category. But if it means getting a guy like Max Domi, that's something to explore. So I'm going to go through everything. I'm going to go through our options. I'm going to look at our team, see what we need to do, as well as I'm going to go in the American League, edit our players, edit our roster, make sure that team's doing good as well. But yeah, I'm going to look through everything here at the end of this episode, and then we'll start episode 4, the next episode, with the trade deadline with some possible big moves on the way. So make sure to check out episode 4. Because it could be a pretty big episode as we try and chase the Stanley Cup. Just one last look there at the standings before we end this episode. We're sitting at 82 points there in 63 games. And we have a bit of a cushion now on the Edmonton Oilers. About a 4-point cushion there on the... 6-point cushion there on the Edmonton Oilers there. And the Anaheim Ducks. So looking good right now as it is, but we're going to see what we can do at the trade deadline to really put ourselves over the top into being a legit Stanley Cup contender. So we'll get to the trade deadline in the next episode, episode 4.